The sun dipped low over the endless fields of corn, throwing golden streaks across the horizon as Emily Carson wiped her dirt-stained hands on her apron, her quiet life on the farm unfolding in the same steady rhythm it always had, unnoticed by most and underestimated by all, because Emily was the kind of girl who rarely spoke unless necessary, who found comfort in tending the animals, mending fences, and keeping her head down, a small town spirit in a world that never cared much about farm girls. But what no one knew, what no one could have guessed, was that Emily carried within her a strength tied not to muscles or a loud voice, but to the unshakable bond she had with her husband, Jack Carson, a man whose name was never spoken lightly in certain circles, a man whose existence Emily kept private for his safety and hers, because Jack wasn't just any soldier. He was Delta Force, the tip of the spear, the ghost warrior the government denied even existed, and together they had crafted a fragile bubble of peace on that farm. But as fate often does, peace shatters when arrogance and cruelty intrude, and it began on a Friday evening when 3 local boys, known troublemakers, swaggered into the farm while Emily was carrying water to the chickens, their laughter sharp, their tone mocking, and their eyes glinting with the kind of mean spirit that had long ago replaced any innocence they might have had. "Hey, farm girl," one of them sneered, a lanky boy named Tyler, his baseball cap twisted backward as if it made him tougher. "You think you're too good to talk to us, always hiding out here in the dirt." And before Emily could respond, before she could even process their sudden presence, they closed in on her with the careless bravado of those who thought they'd never face consequences, one of them grabbing her arm, another shoving her toward the big oak tree at the edge of the field, their voices rising in cruel laughter as they taunted her, calling her names, spitting words meant to break her spirit. And though her heart hammered, though fear curled in her stomach, Emily did not scream, she did not beg, because deep down she knew something they didn't. Help was always only one call away, but still, the boys pushed her against the rough bark, tying her wrists with a coarse rope they'd brought as if this were a game, ignoring her pleas to leave her animals alone, mocking her quietness, one of them muttering, "Bet she ain't got nobody who'd come for her, just a lonely little farm mouse," and their laughter echoed like a curse across the land. But even as the rope bit into her skin, Emily's resolve hardened, because they were wrong. Dead wrong. And when they left her momentarily to go vandalize the barn, kicking over buckets and frightening the horses, Emily shifted just enough to press the small emergency button on her phone tucked in her apron pocket, a button Jack had insisted she always keep within reach, and though it sent no signal the boys could see, though it made no sound, somewhere miles away, deep in a secure facility where men trained in shadows, Jack Carson's watch vibrated once, a signal he had prayed he'd never receive, and his blood turned to fire as he saw his wife's location flash on the encrypted screen, his voice cold steel as he turned to his commander and said only 5 words. "They touched my wife." Now, what followed was a storm none of those boys could have imagined, because within minutes, Jack was on a black helicopter, silent blades slicing through the sky, his mind a battlefield of fury and focus, every muscle honed by years of elite training prepared for this single mission. Not for a nation, not for a cause, but for the woman he loved. While back on the farm, the boys continued their cruelty, one filming Emily on his phone, posting to social media with hashtags meant to mock her, unaware they had just marked themselves with digital signatures that men like Jack could trace in seconds. And when Emily whispered to herself, barely audible, "He's coming," it wasn't a prayer, it was a promise, because she knew Jack would move mountains, break chains, and walk through fire for her. And the first sign the boys had that something was wrong came when the wind shifted unnaturally, a low rumble growing louder, until the dark shape of the helicopter descended just beyond the tree line, its rotors whipping the field into chaos, and out of its belly emerged not a man, but a force, Jack Carson in full combat gear, night vision optics glowing, rifle slung across his chest, his boots pounding the earth with the weight of vengeance, his eyes locked on the tree where Emily stood bound, and in that instant, the boys' laughter died, replaced by a silence more terrifying than any shout, because they suddenly understood they had awakened something primal, something lethal, and Jack moved with the precision of a predator, closing distance before their panicked feet could even carry them, one boy fumbling for his phone as if recording this would save him, another reaching for the knife he'd used to cut the rope, but Jack was already there, his voice low, deadly calm. "Untie her." Now, the boys froze, trembling under the intensity of his gaze, but fear made them stupid, and Tyler, ever the leader of their pathetic pack, spat on the ground and sneered, "Who the hell are you?" That was his mistake, his last act of defiance before Jack moved faster than their eyes could follow, his fist crashing into Tyler's chest with a force that sent him sprawling into the dirt gasping for breath, and before the others could react, Jack had cut Emily free, his hands gentle as they brushed over her rope-burned wrists, his voice softening only for her. "You okay, Em?" She nodded, tears in her eyes but strength in her voice. "I knew you'd come." And then the storm returned to his face as he turned back to the bullies, who were now backing away, stammering excuses. "We didn't mean nothing, man, it was just a joke." But Jack's laugh was cold, humorless, the kind of sound that made grown men shiver. "You think tying my wife to a tree is a joke? You think terrorizing a woman makes you men?" His words were daggers, and with each step he took, the boys crumbled, one even falling to his knees in the dirt, begging for mercy. But Jack was not merciless. He was justice incarnate, and instead of ending them right there, he pulled a small device from his vest, clicking it once, and headlights flared at the edge of the field as black SUVs rolled in, men in tactical gear pouring out, their presence overwhelming, because Jack hadn't just come alone. He'd brought the full weight of Delta Force backup, and the boys' fate was sealed, their bravado shattered, their lives forever changed, because this wasn't just a rescue, it was a reckoning, one that would ripple through the town, teaching everyone that quiet doesn't mean weak, that silence doesn't mean powerless, and that love, when backed by the unbreakable spirit of a warrior, can turn even the cruelest night into the dawn of fear for those who dare to harm it. And as Emily leaned against Jack, safe in his arms, the farm stood as it always had. But from that day forward, no one underestimated the quiet farm girl again, for behind her stood not just a husband, but a shadow, a legend, a Delta Force protector who had turned one call into salvation, one night into legend, and one act of cruelty into a story the town would whisper about for generations, the tale of the bullies who tied a farm girl to a tree, and the husband who came like a storm, unstoppable, relentless, and forever remembered as the day arrogance met its reckoning.